What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist being joined with
Gershwan.
and today we're back to answer more questions from you guys, the viewers, in another spine-tingling reenactment of us answering your questions for the greater.
What if this was a reenactment and we were just like, we use the same questions and we rehearse them over and over and over again, and you guys would see the evolution of how we answer the question? Because I feel like that has happened. Like, we've been asked certain questions so many times, now it's just like, it's not even the same as the original answer. Now it's different because we kind of like have thought about it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So, have we done everything?
Yeah.
This question comes from David Eller. How would a tech priest Nope, that's not it. We'll read that one next. So Simon T says, does each faction of the 40K universe have spies or other intelligent networks? If so, what are they? So the easiest one, and the one that like you can use on the tabletop kind of, is the spy network of the Alpha Legion. So they're like the double crossers, so you don't really know if they're for Chaos or the Imperium, but they're for Chaos.
Yeah. Technically, anytime you play any Space Marine army, you could always just say it's a freaking sleeper agent for the Alpha Legion.
Yep. So yeah, there's that. And then for the Imperium, you have the Assassins that do some type of spy work, but mostly like assassinations.
Yeah.
So, but they will gather intel. They will sit there, just watch and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
I was going to say, like, there are some that literally will slow their heart rate, slow their breathing, and get into a near-death state to get that intel or line up the perfect shot or wait out for the enemy. And it boggles your mind that these people are capable of doing something like this.
yep. And then when you look at factions like the Eldar, you have Farseers that actually can have divination, so they can actually look at what you're doing in the future through their powers.
Right.
And then the Orcs have commandos, but I mean, how sneaky can an Orc really be?
I mean, how is purple a sneaky color?
I mean, it is.
I guess so.
I like wearing purple sometimes when I'm trying to be sneaky.
Oh, that's the thing. I've never seen you wear purple, so it must work.
Yep. I'm next to you. You just don't know it.
That's true.
The other thing is Tyranids have Gene Stealers, and what's the other one?
Lictors.
Lictors.
Yes. The Tau, you could use like AI for espionage. They don't really have like a specific like.
I see them as more like, so that's the water cast.
Yeah, I was thinking water, but they're like
Hiring it out, though.
diplomats and.
I feel like they're like, what's his name from Game of Thrones, the eunuch
Oh, Varys.
with all the little birds he calls them, which is weird. But yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's more and whatnot, but for the most part, like, you don't really play as spies on the tabletop. Anybody could be a spy, really.
Yeah. Next question. Oh, well, I said David Eller says, how would a tech priest respond to a Roomba just doing its job? Venerate it.
Yeah. Put a little, like, skull and a candle on top of it or something.
Yeah. Even though it's not really artificial intelligence. The Roomba's not artificial intelligence because I think there's a program already in there that
Right.
does the thing. Because remember that there's a rule within the Imperium where AI needs to have some type of organic.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah, destroy it.
Because of the revolt.
Yeah.
Yeah. This next question is by Aria816. If all the Space Marine chapters were able to use the same weapons and war gear as the Custodes, how much more effective at pushing back the enemies of the Imperium do you think they'd be? Do you think the Imperium would not be as big of a risk of being consumed by Chaos or the Tyranids?
If they got rid of who?
No, if they were using the same weapons and equipment as the Custodes.
Oh. No, I don't think so. They're really powerful, but you also have to, like, when I was doing the research with all the different weapons, you have to remember, like, if they had a bolter, if a human had a bolter, as soon as, well, first of all, they have to, like, carry it.
Right.
Once they pull the trigger, goodbye, wielder.
Yeah, the recoil is going to be immense.
Yeah. So, no, that's meant for a superhuman warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to say, oh, well, wouldn't the Imperium be better if all Imperial Guardsmen were Adeptus Custodes? Obviously.
Yeah, Clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's say for some reason Space Marines were able to utilize these types of armor and weapons and whatnot. They'll probably do a little bit better, but I don't see them being able to push back their enemies like that.
Yeah.
Because again, you got to think that as heavily like fortified and like durable that this armor is, it does take a lot to create it, and just the means of it and replicating it and to give it to everybody, it's too much.
Too much. Next question comes from Don Krill. Pregunta/question. If you had to rank your sci-fi universe 1 to 5, what would they be, and why is it 40K at number 1?
I don't know if 40K would be at number 1.
So, and then remember that this is like a sci-fi fantasy universe.
Yeah.
Because warp is still a thing. So like sci-fi would be, what is a good sci-fi like thing? Star Trek maybe? Kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. Science fiction, Star Wars.
But Star Wars even has magic.
Yeah.
The what is it called? Force.
Yeah, I was going to say the warp.
Yeah. I'll give my ranking. I don't even have that many sci-fi fantasy or sci-fi genres. I was actually noticing that because I was like looking for some movies to watch in like the sci-fi adventure type of thing on Hulu, and there wasn't that many. Most of them were cartoons, like Rick and Morty, and like that one with the aliens now.
Which is also made by the same creators, right?
Yeah, even though I haven't watched it.
I haven't seen it, no.
Yeah. But I think number 1 for me would be 40K because of the grim darkness. It's very like realistic and brutal, and it made me realize that I like that aesthetic just because it's been repeated over and over and over again. And then Star Wars second, third would be Star Trek, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, when you put it that way, I guess it'd be the same thing. It's just, I don't know, I like dark fantasy more instead of the whole sci-fi. I feel like the more you get like science fiction-y, the more like out there you get, like things start to like feel the same.
I want to play a game that has, like I said, in a dark fantasy world where I get scared.
Mm-hmm.
That I think I haven't experienced, and I wish I would. Like have a good DM or have a good like type of thing where like the setting itself is creepy to me.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say play like Bloodborne or like Resident Evil or something like that.
Yeah, but like I feel like is that can you make that, or have they made that into a board game?
I think there is a board game. I don't know if it's gonna have the same like scary aspect or if they're just making it more actiony.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Next question.
Elliot Figuera, what's the deal with power weapons? Does the energy field cut things, or does the blade itself do that? If it is the energy field doing the cutting, then why even bother sharpening the blade? Because what happens when your power cell runs dry? Now you have a dull knife that like can't do anything.
Yep.
So
And yeah, well, I mean, you've covered power weapons
a long time ago. Yeah.
I'll probably do another thing for that because power weapons, I think, break down the molecules of like certain things.
Right. And depending on a different type of power weapon for each faction, it does different things. Like if you look at the quote-unquote power weapons for the Necrons, they literally say, F you physics, I'm going to go through matter and only cut the thing I'm aiming for and then go through matter again.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how they can just phase through things, cut your heart out, and then phase out, all in like a split second.
It's scary. This next question comes from Martin von Posen. Have you watched The Last Church? What are your favorite fan-made movies about Warhammer? I don't think we've watched The Last Church, have we?
Mm-mm.
I'll look it up real quick.
It doesn't seem familiar.
I think I've mentioned this in this video, but Death of Hope is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's one of the ones that I don't think was, like, the creator of that was not mentioned as one of the creators for the Warhammer Plus stuff.
No, I think he's gone to say how much he dislikes what they've done. Because he was continuing it, but because of the whole animator thing, he's now making it into his own universe. So I think it's called, like, Sarthis or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah, so he's, like, he's using, like, similar assets, but, like, putting a twist on it to make it his own.
And I just have a quick comment for that, just because that just sparked something in my mind where I saw a video not too long ago about why WWE is dying. Like WWE is like the wrestling, stuff. And when the pandemic hit and they were short on money, or they wanted to preserve money, they ended up cutting a bunch of the
wrestlers.
Yeah, and those wrestlers, what did they do? They didn't just sit down and do nothing. They went and they started their own companies, and that's the next one is, I think, WEC or some other thing. But now WWE has a bunch of competitors that they have to deal with, and it's actually sucking fans from WWE. And then obviously WWE has had the backlash of like letting all these people go, and now they're going. Some of their WWE's fighters are actually going to the other places because the other places are offering them like medical and stuff like that. And I feel like GW has inadvertently, by doing this whole thing with the Warhammer Plus, has inadvertently screwed themselves over in the future. I feel like the community is pissed off. They're not going to support Warhammer Plus, and now you have people with talent like Mark Lewis Spark, who's creating his own universe, a competitor universe. That video got like millions of views. If he wants to start his own like product line, that's competition right there.
Yeah.
And the big struggle with finding competitors for GW has always been that like what are the alternatives to GW? War Machine and Hordes.
Yeah.
Like fantasy and stuff like that. You don't have it. Or like what was the other one? Infinity.
Infinity. Yep.
Yeah. But if you do like a Warhammer 40K, like what is it called? Like basically like grimdark universe, and you're doing it based because like Warhammer GW pushed you away, you get the community support, and I think that's gonna screw Games Workshop later. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we gotta wait to see what the next big competition is.
But what is your favorite animated?
Astartes was really good because I like the storytelling when there's not a lot of dialogue, and it's like you have to learn through the context clues and like through them showing you things. So you're almost like left in the dark. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Hell's Reach was always cool.
Oh yeah, and we're getting his. So the creator of Hell's Reach is actually about to throw out his Blood Angels versus Tyranids. What's it called?
I think there's 3 episodes in already.
Oh, they are. Damn.
Yeah. Angels of Death.
Angels of Death.
Yeah, that is a Warhammer Plus thing.
Is Death of Hope completely out?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not even up anymore.
I don't think it is, no.
Damn. And like it's also like a weird situation too, because like let's say if Mark reached out to us or reached out to a bunch of like people from the community and was like, "Hey, can you help us promote?" I would say yeah. Like why not?
Oh no, it is still there. Yeah, you can still watch it.
Oh. Why didn't it come up at the top of my thing?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
1.1 million views, 2 million views. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, GW is going to regret this. But next question.
This question is by Cleric7788. What is outside of the Milky Way?
Tyranids.
Yeah. What else? Who knows? Maybe the Tyranids have eaten everything and we're the last thing on the menu.
Yep.
We're the dessert.
What we know for sure, though, is that the Silent King went out there, the Tyranids have been there, and the old ones are there. So those 3 things might be out there.
Might.
Yeah. It's also just a lot of blankness.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Elliot Figueria. What? Figueria? What's the deal? Oh, no, you just read that.
I was going to say, that name sounds familiar. First level druid. If Horus was made aware of the future Tyranid threat, would the course of the heresy have changed? Would it have happened at all?
I don't think it would have changed because his rebellion was for power and, what's it called? Like, he was pissed off at the Emperor. Mm-hmm. Having Tyranids in the future would not be like, oh, well, that's okay, Dad.
Yeah. It still would have happened, but I think that's just something that he probably would have died anyway. So I think nothing would have changed, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Shovi. Where are the Brothers of Silence?
There is none.
Right. Because we have Space Marines, it's way more badass. Because I think then the argument is like, well, if all these people who want female Space Marines, why not male
Male
sisters of battle? But, Whatever.
Yeah.
People want to complain about everything.
You what you don't have, and then when you get it, you still don't want it.
Yeah.
This one's by Seymour Fields. Why don't all the Navigator houses join with cross marriages, thus giving all Navigators the bonus?
I think it's the same concept with like tribalism and like why the royal courts didn't want to like breed outside of their families. Then you have to share the power, and the Navigators don't want that.
Yeah.
In most Navigators' houses' minds, it's like I have the what is it called, the main Navigator person.
Oh,
Patronova.
Pat, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. If the Patronova is in my family, it's gonna stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
They have this thought, this hope. Isn't it funny though how like when you look at like the big names in history, like Napoleon's descendants are still around, but they're really not. They're nothing.
Yeah.
The descendants of George Washington are probably still around, but they're also nothing. So it's just kind of interesting how like that concept of like giving everything off to your child for them to continue, like it usually doesn't work.
I mean, it'll work for a little bit. Like, look at all the Louis.
Right, because that was forced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was forced. But like, look at the royal. What are they? Like the queen and stuff like that. What are they? They just own a bunch of land.
Yeah, they're not even like a government system anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you strip away the pageantry, they're just dudes and chicks. They have to store their pee in their balls just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Next question.
This one is by... we already did that one in the previous For the Greater WAAAGH.
I have one from Mr. Oh True. How many people have an audience with the Emperor, and who were they? I know the Custodes are very particular who gets the honor of meeting him, and you have to do something tremendous to get the opportunity. Thanks. So it was the head of the Sisters of Battle, Alicia Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the Emperor was just like, hey, kill Coach Van Dyer for me.
Yeah.
The other one.
Gilliman.
And...
who's the other one?
Yeah, I feel like there's a third one.
I feel like there's like... If it wasn't Saint Celestine, it might have been Saint Catherine.
A saint, yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a saint that actually spoke to him. But the thing is, not anybody's just going to be able to waltz in there and talk to him. This is the Emperor of the Imperium, guarded in the Imperial Palace. It's like the most protective place that, like, in the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
So, of course, you have to be somebody of high stature to even think to make it in there.
Yeah, they even kill flies that try to fly into the Imperial throne.
Right.
The throne room.
Because that's Nurgle.
Yeah, that's true. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, just comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah. This has been The Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.